Hello everyone, it's Jeff from New York, your guide to everything New York City, and today we're going to be exploring Soho, a neighborhood in Lower Manhattan, which in recent history came to the public's attention for being the location of many artists' lofts and art galleries, but perhaps now is better known for its variety of shops ranging from trendy upscale boutiques to national and international chain store outlets. The name Soho refers to the area being south of Houston Street, hence Soho. It was a name coined in 1962 by Chester Rapkin, an urban planner. The name also recalls Soho, an area in London's West End. Almost all of Soho is included in the Soho Cast Iron Historic District, which is designated a New York City landmark, also registered with the National Register of Historic Places, and declared a National Historic Landmark in 1978. This district consists of 26 blocks and approximately 500 buildings, many of them incorporating beautiful cast iron architectural elements. Many of the side streets in the district are paved with Belgian block. Put on a comfortable pair of shoes and let's get going. Before we start our tour today, let's get our bearings. This is Houston Street, looking east on Houston Street for that matter. That's NoHo, or north of Houston, on the left, the subject of another video, and Soho, south of Houston, on the right. Here we have Bloomingdale's. The Bloomies on 59th Street is the flagship store, which I visited in other videos. Not many people know about this satellite store in Soho on Broadway. It's a great building, by the way, and it's cast iron, which is very popular in Soho. Some street art with a very powerful message. Building never stops in Manhattan. A short walk down the street and you'll notice construction over, under, and on both sides of you. Scaffolding is a fact of life on the streets in New York City. It usually means active construction is going on overhead, usually way overhead. Scaffolding is what comes between you and a cement block that just fell off the 89th floor. This Soho Street vendor is selling all kinds of smoking paraphernalia and glass pipes. Of course the pipes are empty, but a quick walk up the street to Washington Square Park and you'll find just about anything you want to fill them, if that's your thing. Just ask any overly friendly person that approaches you. Okay, a little history about the Ear Inn, which is located on Spring Street in Soho. The Ear Inn was established in 1817 and is a designated landmark of New York City and on the National Register of Historic Buildings of the U.S. Department of the Interior. It is the oldest working bar in New York City. The house was built for James Brown, who was an aide to George Washington during the Revolution. Brown is actually portrayed in the painting of Washington crossing the Delaware. He's the only black man in the painting. The building is one of very few federal-style houses left in the city and is pretty much in its original condition. Over the years, it has been a spiritual establishment, brewery, restaurant, speakeasy during Prohibition, boarding house, smuggler's den, and a brothel. I guess if a building's been around long enough, it's going to serve a lot of purposes. The inn is also said to be haunted by the ghost of a sailor named Mickey, who is waiting for his clipper ship to return to the Hudson River a few blocks down. During Prohibition, the bar was simply known as the Green Door. After all, the speakeasy wouldn't put a sign out front. The bar remained nameless until 1977, when new owners wanted to name the bar. Because of very strict rules regarding the naming and signing of a landmark building, the establishment was named Ear after the music magazine published years ago upstairs. A close look at the sign reveals that the neon bar, B-A-R, with the B altered into an E. Today, New Yorkers still refer to the bar as the Green Door. After all, it does sound cooler than the Ear. This is Canal Park. Canal is one of the oldest parks in Manhattan. It's a tiny park about 2/3 of an acre. It's a triangular patch that fell into disrepair long ago when the city decommissioned the park almost a century ago. For decades, the site was used as a parking lot for the Department of Sanitation. In 2005, the park was restored to its former glory. Although the site had many functions over the years from 1833 until about 1925, its primary use was that of an open public space. Canal Park now features the original ornamental fencing, granite bollards, hoof benches, and the park's distinctively shaped central pathway. The park was also raised about 1 foot above its original level due to modern utility restraints. The restored park features evergreen and flowering plants, green lawns, and cobblestones. The importance of this park cannot be lost on bigger, more well-known parks in the city. Canal Park was one of the first of many urban green spaces to follow in Manhattan, a city known for its world-class parks. The Emerald Pub. There's lots of Irish pubs all over New York City, but especially downtown. The Emerald's happy hour lasts from 12 noon to 8 p.m. I love street art, and here's a crazy example in Soho. All those colors are painted on raised brick. That's not an easy task. She caught my eye on Broadway down in Soho. I think she was window shopping. Looks like she had some work done. You know, plastic surgery. Literally. I packed one of those frozen ice packs, those blue things, in my backpack, knowing I was going to visit Jacques Torres Chocolate in Soho. There's no Hershey or Nestle here. This is the real decadent deal. I think Soho is Jacques' newest location. I purchased a 2-pound milk chocolate bar thinking it would last for months. It didn't. Here we have the Children's Museum of the Arts. Not only is the CMA a museum with exhibits geared for children, although adults certainly can appreciate them as well, it's also a hands-on workshop for them. Some of the features are a media lab, a clay bar, a sound booth, a fine art studio, and a ball pond to work off some energy. There's also a wee art studio for the very young. CMA is a great place to introduce art to children and let them explore their own creative side as well. You don't see harp-style fire escapes too often in the city. These are great examples in Soho. They add nice detail to the building's already beautiful facade. This is Gildas Club on Gilda Radner Way in Soho. The club and street are named after Gilda Radner, a brilliant comedian who I always placed on par with Lucille Ball. She was an original cast member of Saturday Night Live and brought to life characters such as Baba Wawa, Emily Latella, and who can forget Rosanna Dana. Gilda was married to comedian Gene Wilder. She was diagnosed with ovarian cancer in 1986 and died in 1989. She was one of my favorite Saturday Night Live cast members. Soon after her death, Gene Wilder, along with Gilda's cancer psychotherapist Jonah Bull, started Gildas Club. The now famous Red Door opened in 1995 to any man, woman, or child living with cancer. It's a place where those with cancer, as well as their families and friends, can join together and build social and emotional support, as well as a supplement to medical care. This support is offered free of charge to everybody. This small neighborhood park is located right outside of Gildas Club, a great spot for family and friends to reflect. Here we have some flowers and trees on a Soho street. It's mid-autumn when these shots were taken, and the flowers and trees in Soho are still going strong. The Film Forum is a very popular theater in downtown. It's a 3-screen alternative theater for independent films. The organization has been around since 1970. This is the Jose Artigas Monument. Jose Artigas, who lived from 1764 to 1850, was a Uruguayan independence leader and national hero. The monument, which is located in Soho Square, is one of 6 which commemorate Latin American leaders, which overlook Avenue of the Americas, also known as 6th Avenue. Here we have Trump Soho, one of Don's downtown digs. It's a cool building with unusual 3D skin and windows that actually open. The Soho Playhouse is a historic off-Broadway venue serving the downtown New York City theater community since 1920. The building is a colonial mansion that served as headquarters for General George Washington and later became home to Aaron Burr, the 3rd Vice President of the United States. Prior to becoming a playhouse, the building was known as the Huron Club, a popular meeting place and nightclub for the Democratic Party. It's a beautiful afternoon today in the city, and a lot of artists are displaying their works today on Soho sidewalks. This is Rudys Music. I'm sure a lot of well-known rock stars have shopped here. Lots of guitars. Electric, acoustic, bass, vintage, you name it, this place will have it. And here we have St. Anthony of Padua Church. The Shrine Church is staffed by the Franciscan Friars Province of Immaculate Conception. Established in 1866, it's the oldest existing parish founded for ministry to Italian immigrants in the U.S. Walk along Houston Street and you'll come across some street vendors in Soho. A little bit of everything for everyone. Speaking of street vendors, I came across this woman. Not your typical street vendor. Not your typical street vendor hats. They're her own designs, and she had a personality that people just could not say no to. And here we have some more street art in Soho. This is created by Jerkface, a now famous New York City graffiti artist. Just Google Jerkface graffiti and you'll see a lot of his works around New York City. Quickly looking south on a Soho street and you'll see the old, the new, and the under renovation. That pretty much sums up New York City buildings. Soho has become known not only for its cast iron buildings, but its designer boutiques as well. These shops are everywhere you turn down here. Some designers are known worldwide, like the Ralph Lauren shop shown above. Others are local designers which are just as busy. Check out this dressing room. Have you ever seen a dressing room like this? Ken's Broome Street Bar. This place, which has been Ken's since 1972, will soon be history. You see, the owner, Ken, became history a few months ago at the age of 92. He died while on vacation in Florida after having a margarita, a nice lunch, and a swim in the hotel swimming pool, according to his obituary. Ken opened the joint initially as a hangout for local artists, but it quickly became popular with everybody. Built in 1825, this is possibly the oldest building in Soho. The new owners plan on a total renovation while keeping the original building's look and feel. Not that they have much choice. The city has made it impossible to make landmark buildings such as this one into anything other than a restored version of the original. And that, in my opinion, is a good thing. And here we have some more Soho Street art. The artist is Arturo de Modica, and the work appears to be a chrome horse eating its own tail. It's located in front of Cipriani downtown. Cipriani has a couple of restaurants in New York City. It's a Soho Italian eatery. Mangiare. Here's a building on West Houston Street. I'm not sure what this is, but I'm going to call it architecture. I made up a new word. Feel free to use it. These are nice nuts. No, I'm not kidding. If you're looking for some nice nuts, Dwayne Reed has them out on display on Broadway in Soho. And here we have the Little Singer building in Soho. Designed by Ernest Flagg in 1902 and constructed in 1903, this 12-story charmer has an unusual mixture of residential and commercial uses. The building has an airy look derived from its wide windows and lacy strip balconies. This is Global Table in Soho, a tabletop store that focuses on dishes, glassware, and accessories from around the world with an emphasis on simple lines and vivid finishes. It's a very tiny store with a big and famous following. It's been featured in many, many magazines. Here we have the Cable Building. This building with its grand entrance was built in 1892 for the Metropolitan Traction Company, which was one of the city's first cable car companies. The figures on each side of the ornamental glass opening are 11 feet high and very similar to the figures on the Great Seal of the Empire State. Back when the building was designed, it was very unusual to have such a prominent sculptural piece on a commercial structure. These days, it is truly rare. Fashion and Soho are synonymous. Shops range from those dedicated to the masses, such as Old Navy, to high-end haute couture. No matter how deep your pockets are, if you're going to go shopping for clothing, you need to head to Soho first. The cobblestone street and brick buildings are an indication that you're somewhere downtown. The cast iron buildings with the columns, however, are a dead giveaway. You, my friend, are in Soho. Just another example of the neighborhood's beautiful cast iron buildings. Vesuvio Playground has lots of features to keep the kids and adults busy. The playground has cement game tables and chairs for the kids. However, today they were occupied by adults enjoying local Soho takeout. I'm sure the adults were just watching their kids. Adults are not allowed in city playgrounds unless accompanied by a child, which is why most of my photos are taken behind a fence. Badici belts. Think of a belt. If Badici doesn't have it, they'll make it for you. Tons of colors, materials, and buckles for you to mix and match. Just like a diamond, Soho has 4 C's: color, columns, cast iron, and cobblestone. This is the heart of Soho. 5 stories of breathtaking cast iron and column designs, perfectly preserved. Trumps are in the house when it comes to Soho. You've already seen Don's big building earlier in this video, and here we have Ivanka Trump's boutique featuring jewelry. Some beautiful and picturesque as well as historic cobblestone side streets of Soho. The Gourmet Garage, a local grocery store featuring a huge selection of gourmet goodies. It's a very clean store, and I love the old wooden floors, with nothing but the freshest food. When you hear the term Soho Loft, think of the Gunther Building. This cast iron beauty is well over 100 years old and is a perfect example of loft living. The first level is a commercial tenant, and the other levels are all residential. What makes the Gunther Co-op unique is that it's the only co-op in the city without a maintenance fee. These monthly fees are usually very high in New York City. However, at the Gunther, maintenance of the entire building is the responsibility of the commercial tenant on the first floor. Sounds great for the residents, but that bottom floor better be selling a lot of widgets. Here we have Aqua Grill, said to be one of the best raw bars in the city. With over 1,000 oysters a night going down the hatch, they must be doing something right. Okay, put the video on pause. Something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue. Can you guess what's what? Leave a comment below. 109 Prince Street. There are several Ralph Lauren shops in Soho. This one by far occupies the best looking building. Made of cast iron and built on solid bedrock, the buildings of Soho have been around for a while. With just a little maintenance, they'll be around for at least 1,000 years. Buildings such as these will never be built again because of the costs involved and a commercial building mentality that disposable is better. Today's commercial buildings are actually designed with ease of demolition in mind, a concept that would have the designers of the above beautiful buildings scratching their heads. Dos Caminos, a tequila lounge that just happens to serve fresh Mexican fare. They have well over 100 types of tequila. Let's see, if I tried a shot of each, that would take at least 2 or 3 days for me to try them all. Here's to New York City. A Soho Handyman Special, a diamond in the rough. All you need for this little fixer-upper is a huge amount of cash, lots of research to bring it back to its glory, blood, sweat, tears, and a giant chainsaw to cut through all the city's red tape. There's not many buildings in Soho in this condition. Use your imagination. This could be a gem. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please like, comment, and subscribe by clicking on the button on the left. On the right, you can click on my playlist of narrated photo videos or my playlist of walking 4K videos. Thanks again, and I'll see you around the city.